Hey YouTubers, how you doing today? I'm gonna make a quick and dirty video over here on how to build your own Wort chiller. So these are some of the parts that I purchased real quick. Here's my coil. Now you can find other videos that make all these coils, so I'm not gonna go into that. But basically, really quick, that's 3/8 inch copper tubing. Bought this at one of the big box stores. If you shop around, prices range dramatically. For instance, some of these parts here, like these were actually $9 something over at Home Depot. Found them over at Menards for $4. So shop around. You got a lot of choices out there. Anyway, real quick, this is the box that the 3/8 tubing came in. This is a 3/8 inside diameter. I got 20 feet of it. Got a couple 2 feet length pipes. This is 1/2 inch. This is 3/8. The original, the coil is. I'm gonna go up to these rigid pipes, and this is kind of why I made this video here, because a lot of the videos that are out there, the people are fighting to bend the pipe and so forth like that from the bottom and bring it back up to the top so they could kind of put the connections on there for the garden hoses and stuff like that. This is a much cleaner way of doing it. You get some rigid pipe here. It's going to be a little stronger, and after everything's together, you'll see what I mean. I just think it's a lot cleaner, and also your coil will come out nicer. If you kind of look at it here, it's all together. Once you start bending that bottom to loop it up to the top, it's all going to get screwed up and misconfigured, and it's not going to look nice. Now, function's more important than how it looks, obviously. But the way I'm doing it here, you're going to get function, and it's still going to look like it's like an amateur didn't put it together. Anyway, some of the other parts that I have here, some elbows. These are street elbows. You could that only means one side has you slip the connection in, and then on this side here, something slips over this end. There's different ways you could do it. If you just go to the hardware store, the home supply store, big box store, they'll be able to set you up. Just tell them what you're looking to build. Just real quick, these are my connectors, a couple 2-foot pipes. These are the garden hose connections. I got one male, one female. Depending on how you want to do it, you could do 2 females if you wanted. I just figure this way I do one of each. So when I'm done with the using it, I could screw this on to that, and just for storage, probably makes no difference. A couple of hose clamps up there. We're going to use that because this hose is going to hook onto the 3/8 inch pipe eventually. Now this is 1/2 inch, like I said, so we've got a reducer right here. You can see one end's bigger than the other, so I'll be able to put my 3/8 back into there, and then this is going to hook on to here. You'll see that when it's all done. This right here is really nothing. This is just a piece I cut off my copper pipe because it was bent. So just to make sure it's nice and round there at the edges. The other thing I wanted to bring out here, it's important when you get the solder, we're going to be sweating these elbows on, is to actually get lead free. And you can see right there, lead free. You don't want to be putting lead into your beer, so important to get lead free. I think most of it out there is probably lead free. These days it's hard pressed to find anything with lead in it, especially when you're using it on pipes like this, which traditionally carry water. This is something else I got. This I picked up at, I think, Home Depot. I'm sure any of them will sell it. It's an adapter, and it's got actually, this fits into your common kitchen sink right here. That threads into your kitchen sink. I believe that's the male, or maybe it's both. Maybe it's female and male. Anyway, this is what it looks like. It's called a faucet adapter. And then this other end here, if you look very carefully, it's got like a coarser thread. You could actually thread your garden hose onto it. So it's kind of nice. They have it where you could leave this on your faucet and put your garden hose on there. If you don't like the looks of it with it on there, you could always take it off and replace it with your normal strainer that comes with your faucet. But this is kind of nice because you don't have to run it out to an actual garden hose outside if you're in the winter time or something like that. So this is just a nice accessory to have. That's about it for right now. Now I'm going to go and kind of get everything ready, and through the magic of editing and so forth, hopefully I'll be able to put some of these things together for you. So stay tuned. Okay, YouTubers, just continuing on here. There's a few more things that you need when you're building this. One thing I wanted to mention is if you don't have any of these tools handy, it definitely wouldn't be worth you going out buying all these things. It's cheaper just to go buy yourself a Wort chiller. You could find them on eBay, fairly inexpensive, 50, 60 bucks or something like that. I just like doing projects, so I kind of put myself through this because I actually enjoy doing this. I'm pretty much using my mind all day working, so I kind of like to work with my hands too as well during the off hours. So I got a little bit of work cut out for me here, but it's going to be fun. Anyway, here I got some, you could tell the MAP gas, it's a little hotter than propane, so it just heats up quicker. I've got the torch tool here you put on top of your MAP gas. We'll be using that later. This is flux. This is a cleaner that you're going to put on the ends over here to make sure that all the dirt and grease is off of that before you solder. Little brush to put it on with. This right here is to clean the insides to get all the burrs off. And then actually I have a tool too that does what this is doing, but this is just sandpaper. I can't find my tool. So basically what you do is you clean the edge of this. You can see this is shinier than the rest of it. So I started cleaning this side. You just want to clean the ends off, and also any of the connections, like maybe this you could get at over here. So you'd want to make sure you kind of sand that, get it nice and shiny. 99% of the time, if you have a bad solder connection, that's because it has grease, dirt, or something in there. So it's really important to use this cleaning flux soldering paste. It kind of gets rid of all that stuff. So anyway, I'm going to finish up here. I'm going to shine up all the ends of these things where I can. I'm going to use this tool right here to clean the inside. That's just to get the burrs off mostly. It doesn't really solder on the inside. But on some of these connections here, like these, this reducer that I have here, I'm going to take that brush right there and also clean on the inside if I can. You want to get it as shiny as you can. So doesn't take a lot of time to do that. Just get it nice and shiny. So that's that for this section. I'm going to put the camera down and start on those things. And here's just a quick example of using that tool to clean the inside of these things. I'm shooting this on my cell phone, so don't have a tripod or anything, so it's kind of hard to clean the parts as well as hold the phone. But just really quick, you can see this. It's a wire brush. Just turn it maybe about 10 times. Look in there. It should be nice and shiny. Then it's ready to apply that solder paste on there before you go ahead and solder the joints up. So just showing you that. Okay, YouTubers, it's been about 5-10 minutes. Just polished up all the ends of these things, as I was saying before. You can kind of see it's shinier on the ends of it. Also here, these are street elbows, where one side's bigger than the other. So on this side, I shine the outside up, and here I shine the inside up. And make sure you blow out all the dust that's in there as well. You can see it with all of these too. So some of them are a little bigger than others. These are 1/2 inch. These are 3/8 here. But like I said, the pipe that I have is 3/8, and I'm going to be hooking up, converting the handle part of it to 1/2 inch. That's why I have all these adapters here. Like I said, once you see how it's all put together, you'll be able to go into the store and either find these adapters yourself, or someone can help you hook it up from the store. Someone who's knowledgeable there in plumbing. So anyway, just want to show you that. Next step, I'm going to put the flux on, assemble everything, and then we're going to get started and sweat the pipes together. Okay, just finished up putting the flux on. Kind of see it's over here. It's a little cold over here. We're in Chicago, and I think it's about, probably 10 degrees outside. So in the garage, it's probably somewhere around 30. So the paste didn't smooth on that easy, but it's still on there. and it's all going to burn off once we put the torch to it. So I just wanted to kind of show you, just kind of goobed it on. These are all the fittings. And next step is assembly and soldering. Okay, so a quick correction to what I had said before. I think I was saying on some of these adapters over here, I think it was this middle one here, to sand the outside of it. Actually, as I put it together, I didn't realize it was still actually the insides of these that you had to shine. So anyway, and when I say shine, I mean with the sandpaper, clean it all up. So you'll figure it out. Once you assemble it like this, you'll see which parts have to be cleaned. So maybe just go ahead and do a quick dry assembly of it before you go ahead and sand everything, and make sure you're putting the flecks on the right places and cleaning up the sanding up the right edges as well. So anyway, this is basically how it is. I've got my coil. You can see down here, I've got my elbow, 90-degree elbow, going from 3/8 coming on up. This is an adapter to go from 3/8 to 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch is coming up here. So what my plans are is to cut this extra piece off here. This is the very top of the coil. And I'm going to set it up so both of these pipes, when this elbow connects in here, both of these pipes, these long pipes, are going to be next to each other. So that's why I'm going to cut off this extra piece. And then that extra piece, what I'm going to do, since I'm going to need 3/8 inch up top here, the plastic hose is going to connect onto it. So I'm going to put 3/8 in there from what I cut off here. So basically, I guess what I'm saying is the bottom half of the elbow and the top half should be pretty close to each other. So if you just have to trim a few inches off to do that, so your 2-foot extensions over here could stay close together, so you don't have one here and one down here. Doesn't really matter. It just, I guess, a little cleaner this way. So one more thing that I neglected to say here, which I found out. This right here is a little tool. It's for cutting copper. They make it. This is a real small one, so they make them in different sizes. They sell them at any box store. This allows you to cut the copper and have a nice clean cut. It's not on an angle. So basically, you just put the pipe in between here. You tighten this down. You just run it, keep circling it around. You continue to tighten this up. Takes this little cutting tool, which I don't know if you could see. It's in there, little round wheels. And it keeps getting tighter and tighter on the pipe. And as you turn it around, it cuts deeper and deeper. You keep tightening it, it cuts deeper, and eventually you cut through it. So I'm going to use that to cut this little section off from right here. And then also I'm going to use it on this other 2-foot pipe over here to run it up and make sure that both this and this, the pipe coming down here, are equal height. I don't want one here and I don't want one way up there or way down here. So just something else to add in there for you. Boy, so just a little footage showing you how that little cutting wheel is cutting into the pipe nice and straight. Again, I just tighten it up, keep spinning it around. There you go. Now, it obviously took longer than that to do it. That was almost at the edge of it cutting, but you could just kind of see how nice and clean the cut is. Get it in focus there if I can. Okay, so what we're going to do here is sweat these solder joints on here. I did one over there. I'm going to do this other one. I figure I'd video it while it's here. Just heat it up after we got that flux on there. And that should be it. I did it kind of quickly over there. Once you get this nice and hot, the solder kind of flows around there and creates a seal. So that was it. Just kind of wanted to show you how quick it was to solder. Okay, so here we have the finished product, the Wort chiller that I created over here. Just a couple things that I wanted to show you. I thought I'd show you the finished product. I really kind of like this. To me, not only is it a little cheaper than buying your own, it's actually a lot stronger from what I see, the versions that I've seen that you could purchase in stores. So anyway, just a quick go over on this. Obviously, you've got the coil down there on the bottom. I discussed earlier the type of coil it was and so forth. The major advantage to this particular design is that the handles, these straight up things right here, they're rigid copper, and it doesn't flex like a lot of the other ones do that you purchase in the stores and so forth. And plus, some of the videos that you see out there on YouTube, they're showing the person kind of bending the pipe from the very bottom and up, like I said earlier. This just looks a little nicer. The only other thing that I'm going to add is here I'm going to put some kind of a connector just to hold these two. I'll maybe solder them together, or I'll use some copper wire or something, a hose clamp, just to hold them together. So you can kind of see when you're shaking it around. It's kind of hard to tell with me holding the camera, but it doesn't flimsy around like a lot of the coils out there. So the only other thing that I did add was these plastic hoses secured by the hose clamp there. And this is something I wanted to point out too. These are the two ends for the garden hose. You could keep them both the same. The reason I had one of each is because when I'm done using this, I could connect the one on the right and screw it into the one on the left. And then this way it keeps the rubber washer secure in there so you don't lose it. Just nice for storing it. You could, let them hang free, but then you're running the risk of losing that washer in there. So that is my Wort chiller that I made over here. One last bit of advice that I would add is, as you realize when we were creating this thing or building it, we used some chemicals, the Flux paste that actually cleans the connections. We use solder. And then not to mention the copper itself, whatever factory it came from, it might have residue on there, oils and so forth. So I personally went through and I actually cleaned it in a sanitizing cleaner. Same stuff you would use to clean your homebrew equipment. Or you could just go ahead and put it in a pot of boiling water and have all that hot oil dissolve all the things that might be adhering to the metal. You want to kind of degrease all that, get all that off there, so when you put it in your beer, you don't have all that junk getting into your beer. So it's nice and clean. Came out perfect. Really glad I decided to build it instead of purchase one. And that's about it. So hopefully you liked it, YouTube. And hopefully if you have any comments, feel free to leave them, and I'll get back to you. Happy brewing, everyone.